What's going on, everyone? What's going on?
It happened again. We made it.
We've made it back. Finally,
We
made
did
it to the.
Finally.
We completed another journey, another quest.
We enlightened you into something new in Star Wars that you never saw, and it's because of us.
Definitely enlighten you guys into something fun, but
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Someone has to do it.
So it has to be us because it's a job that needs done.
Definitely not. But it's great to be back for another week with the team here and leading into our Bad Batch final season, man. So wow, what a busy, I don't know, 2 months we have lined up for you guys. On top of, before we dive into our housekeeping stuff, it seems as if Marvel has learned from their mistakes and they're going to hush route. So we got a little teaser. We got some Fantastic Four stuff on the way.
Yeah.
We have X-Men on the way, and the X-Men 97 stuff. I think that's really cool. Hopefully on our other channel, another shameless plug, Nerd Comic Psycho Flick Show. Depending on the rollout, maybe we'll try to do some reviews of that as well. So I don't know if they're going to review and just drop the whole. I don't know if they're going to drop the whole lot of them, or if they're going to do weekly, but definitely keep an eye on our other show because
you heard it here first. NCFS will be talking X-Men 97. We're going to do it. You better go to Walmart right now and stock up on Fruity Pebbles because that's what you're going to be eating when we talk about X-Men 97 because that's what I remember eating in the 90s when I watched that cartoon, which was on Fox at 11 o'clock in the morning. All right, I'm done.
That was great, man.
Between
X-Men 97, the only other thing that might make me get a tear is if they do Batman the Animated Series, if they bring it back. That will be,
Well, sadly, Kevin Conroy is
unfortunately,
away. Or I would be all about that, like very intensely. So without him, I'm fine with them just doing more Batman cartoons.
It's fine.
As long as they're doing them, though. Don't forget to do the Batman cartoons.
Don't forget to do another Batman. I mean, we would like to see another one at some point. It's been a while.
But, getting back into the topic at hand, I mean, what a way to kind of end this set. But before we dive into that, let's let our guy DP let you guys know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com, people, your favorite website where we will be getting some future fanfic from us. All right. We'll get back into
as the artificial intelligences get better.
We
will also get better at doing this.
Your stories get better. Your fan fiction gets a whole lot better. AI, come take us over.
Hey.
Cybernet. What was it? Skynet?
Skynet. That's the worst one. You're calling for the worst one? I mean, literally, Skynet not only obliterated all human life, first of all, but then it had all the Terminator stuff. Went back in time to try to kill poor Sarah Connor, killed all those other Sarah Connors,
and they had to bring the 12th Doctor in to fix the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Hey, well, I mean, hopefully it won't be Skynet, but
what if we pick just a different? What if we just pick the one from like War Games, which is basically Skynet but without the Terminators?
Without the Terminators. Oh, all right. So
too dorky.
On Nerdcyclopedia
game. No, come on.
We'll be at you'll see your favorite social media platforms at Nerdcyclopedia, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that. Make sure that you follow us. If you're listening to us on podcasts, we're on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast, we're there. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you, of course. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and also hit that notification button so anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. If you're watching us on Facebook, thank you as well. Make sure you join our Facebook group, a Carbonite Bounty BS, a Star Wars group, where you hear everything that's Star Wars related, get all that conversation, get into a community of Star Wars stuff. Also, leave us some feedback. We're at nerds and nerdcyclopedia.com. We love getting all your feedback on anything that we do pop culture wise. So make sure you keep getting that to us.
Well said. And guys, as we discussed, I mean, this is really the ending of a show that I wasn't too optimistic of, but at the end, The first half, I don't even care about. I mean, and I know we'll spend most of the time. Those last three, though, were like they were good, right? You know, we got the
Oh yeah,
gun.
yeah,
We got the
yeah.
Supreme Leader, right?
Yeah. So I'd like to start and say let's take The Force Awakens, that whole movie, out of the picture completely. Let's replace it with episodes 17, 18, and 19 together as one film. And I think we would have a better introduction into the Star Wars universe after, what are we saying?
Yeah, I agree.
30 years.
I agree.
Because now, and I'm saying this had everything. It had call outs to, I mean, we had Dantooine as actually a place that meant something. And even the introduction between Kaz and his former, pilot was a lot like Luke and Biggs. So we had a lot of call out to A New Hope. I felt that the last piece of this season really hit the mark, and it had everything we were looking for. And as we said, as I heard someone say, Supreme Leader was introduced here. And I told you guys this, but I watched ahead because I'm a total dumbass. But anyway, I think that these last three episodes could have been our episode 7. And I think we would have been a lot happier with the way things went, because this had everything. I mean, we had space battles. We had the First Order being real jerks, just doing what they wanted to do. And we had the Supreme Leader. I mean, I loved it. I watched it multiple times. And I think Filoni needs to go and maybe rework some of the characters, but I think this could be a really good beginning to a rework of the trilogy, the post trilogy. Just my opinion, but man, I love this. It was great. Every second. I really like the scene where the Supreme Leader made Tierney and Pyre,
yeah.
Take their handguns out and aim them at each other. I mean, that was the ultimate strength of the dark side across space. We don't even know where he is.
Do you?
Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Did you look under the couch for my keys? Oh yeah, I looked there. Did you? Did you
really? Yeah. As a parent, I would like that power, not in that.
Okay.
Right. Did you brush your teeth tonight?
Did you? Not quite at that ability, but
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Did you make up your bed this morning? Did you?
Yeah. Did you brush your teeth? Did you make your bed? Did you do your homework?
Yeah.
Did you give your mother a hug tonight?
Whoa.
Hey,
whoa, that's intense.
I told you guys that if they show the gun in a story, at some point you got to fire it,
Yeah.
And that was
called out way back in the first or second episode of the series, and they just out Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Not Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader.
Oh,
yeah.
Supreme.
So this is after. Yeah. Now he's Supreme Leader, but
is he really? Because he's really not, right? Because Palpatine's really still in charge, and he just really killed a deformed, awful, misshapen, shrunken clone of Palpatine's rather than actual Palpatine.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Hey, how about episode 19 giving us a somehow our shields are down? How about that? That was one of the great somehows. Yeah.
All around.
I was like, it's nice that they're giving a shout out to episode 9 here at the end of Resistance, giving us somehow.
Yeah,
it couldn't be a droid. It couldn't be a Rolly, right?
Yeah.
I was afraid that they were up in like a cliffhanger and everything, because I'm like, okay, are they going to show are we going to expect anybody from the trilogy to come back? Of course, we got the Supreme Leader and stuff, so that was a gracious thing. But I love the way that they they wrapped it up. They knew where they were going, and they ended it. And it actually made me like these people, these our cast, our heroes a lot more. I mean, I came around with Tam too. Tam has got to be, a lot more likable.
I told you she'd come back. Told you.
Yes, you did, kid. Yes, you did. You prophesied that, Ken. I don't know where you get your superpowers from, but hey, bow down. I bow down to that. But yeah, this was
he watched ahead.
No. That was before I watched ahead.
That was before he was. But yeah, we're great three set of episodes, to cap off the series and everything. So what it essentially is like a mediocre series, but I do agree with Ken. There is a pathway to have these characters be in other stuff. They're likable characters, they're good characters. If you cut out all the fat, that we had with like a lot of the filler stuff and concentrate solely on like the First Order stuff, the story, the Resistance, everything. I think you would have had a more cohesive, more focused series. Kaz, he came around to be a lot more tolerable, especially with these last 3 episodes and everything. He is the goodness of what Star Wars, I guess, sort of embodies and everything, that hero stuff. He wants to go back to, to save his friends. He believes in his, teammates and everything. And I think that is an important message that that your hero actually should be able to convey in like a series and stuff. We get a lot of anti-heroes and stuff and different, types of, other stuff. I mean, it's good to see that our focus cast, stuck to his, as annoying as he was in some cases, he didn't deviate. He stuck, and he was down with Tam to the very end. He believed in her to the very end. So I got it. I mean, I got to admire that. I love, like, Tam, Tora's mom, the captain's mom and all that stuff. I love the way that she came back and, helped guide like the crew and stuff. Got a lot of First Order stuff. I mean, that was, that's all you could really ask for. And for them to be, turned on at the end, I mean, that's all you want your stories to do and stuff. So, I mean, I dug this last set of episodes. Really good.
We're talking about the last 3 episodes, and that's deservedly so. I agree that they were really, really good. And like, it almost makes you think to yourself, like, I wish they would have done another season of this, just because they really hit their groove at the end. They figured out how these characters should all work together, who should be paired up with who, what they should all be doing. And I think they really did really well. But let's talk about the other 3 episodes in this set, which were kind of, of varying quality. just to put it that way. I want to talk about how Avatar 2 happened in episode 15.
Oh,
we're basically tuning into a preview of The Way of Water somehow. I also want to talk about how we finally see what a Star Destroyer actually is, which is a planetary bombardment platform. We see the turbo lasers out in space doing what they're doing, but that is a thing designed to mess up a planet. And seeing a Star Destroyer just throwing artillery down on the surface of a planet was really just incredible. Just one of the wildest things that you always love to see, just because of the spectacle, and it makes you realize, I think, what the Emperor is actually doing to a large degree when you see all those Star Destroyers on Exegol. Because he's basically going to planetarily bombard whatever he wants. So I really thought that was some interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, really, episode 17 for me is just very, very excellent. There were stakes. They were doing something that made sense. There were casualties. And I know I've said before that sometimes, you don't want things to be so grim. Like Rogue One is grim. Yeah. That's grim. That's people.
Yeah.
It's like one of those World War II Dirty Dozen stories where you're like, nobody's coming back and they know it. You know what I mean? It's wild. You don't always want to see something like that, but I think when your protagonists skate too easily, too long, sometimes that takes the stakes out of a story. And watching like landing ships go up like it's the Normandy landing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seeing like whole DC-37, like, you know what I mean, full of people just going down. And the First Order being like, yeah, like, we got him. It was really, like, That's the sort of stuff you want to see. You want to see some of that serialization, and you want to feel like there's real stakes. And I think they paid that off too in the last episode where we had stormtroopers just going down. I mean, there was that one scene where Mama Z just tossed that decaying corpse just away from the bar, didn't even bother putting it on the cart, you know what I mean, to bring out your dead cart.
That was the price of what? Price of progress. What did she say?
Your drinks are going to be more expensive now that she just took that dead body.
Drinks are going to be more expensive. Price of progress.
This poor brain scraped, cannon fodder that got sent to the Colossus. They sent 10 dudes to take over an entire a whole ship full of people. There were hundreds of people on there. So I don't know. Maybe they don't value their people very much on the First Order. But I liked everything about this except the Tam storyline, mostly because how many people died, do you think, because Tam decided to do this dabbling with the First Order? I mean, it's dozens of people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe just dozens of TIE fighter pilots, because none of this would have happened. They would have just been coasting along, looking for Rey or doing whatever. They certainly wouldn't have been shot up in an ambush or whatever. And these are people she must know. You know what I mean? Everybody has worked for a company that has less than stellar reputation, right? And we're not going to name names, but everyone's done it in their career, I think. And at a certain point, you just kind of have to.
Well, we're not talking about death here, Steel City.
Right.
Okay.
We're not talking about death.
Let's.
But at a certain point, you have to say, "Hey, I made friends at that place." Right? There were people there that weren't terrible. Even if the company itself is terrible, there are people that you would like. If you just suddenly started getting them, wiped out, wouldn't you feel bad about that?
She wasn't coming from that point of view. She was already part of the Empire. Her family was Imperial. She grew up in that environment. That was natural for her.
I just feel
that's her story. Don't change it. That's her story. Don't make it different.
It's like taking a shot at your hometown, man. It would be like if
it's okay. You can go to the dark side, and if you're willing to repent and come back, that's cool. That's Star Wars.
Is it really? Especially if you get
it is. Because
you can dabble in the dark side for
Obi-Wan did it. Minute. Darth Vader did it. Everyone has gone to the dark side.
But Darth Vader's not a hero. Nobody thinks he's a hero. He's a
Darth Vader and Anakin are two different people.
Darth Vader is totally a hero. To a lot
Darth Vader and Anakin are two different
hero.
But Tam's not force sensitive. That's just her. That's not. She's just terrible.
Missing from this whole story is there's no Force, there's no Jedi. That's the only thing missing.
But I like that.
And that's fine. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I like that. I liked especially when Kaz was reaching out for that
and
axe or whatever.
Get it.
He couldn't get it, and you just keep thinking
out from underneath that box he was under.
But remember, this has way more of a foot in episode 9 than episode 8 at the end of Resistance. So episode 9 rules apply. Nobody has the Force. Nobody.
Well, unless you're Mandalorian, but that's another story for another day.
Unless you're Mandalorian or a Palpatine or one of these 8 Skywalkers.
So the only Force stuff we got in this series was what Kylo Ren did at the end, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. We got no lightsabers whatsoever. None.
Nowhere.
That's why, you know what? It's crazy how they tied this in because Ken said he wished this was episode 7. I tend to disagree. I would like this to be like a prologue to 7, like a
6.5.
I don't like a Rogue One. Like a Rogue One, leading up. Or why wouldn't they name? Why wouldn't they just get rid of 7? If they did 7, just get rid of 8, then make 7, 8, and then 9 or whatever, and reorder them. And then they should have had the first one be like the Rise of the Resistance. I would have loved that to be the title of the first one. Maybe dabble more into this stuff, maybe have Rey or whatever because she was kind of part of the lead. She joined the Resistance.
No, Rey. Just.
Well, think about what it missed.
You have to have a Jedi in the movie, though.
But you have minor characters in the Resistance. Yeah, you have minor characters in the Resistance that are realized though that you could be bringing into this. Like you could be bringing all those pilots, like that guy that's friends with J.J. Abrams that's in all his stuff. Right, the dude that was had the mental powers in Heroes. That guy, all the aliens in Poe Squadron. We never saw anybody that's in Poe Squadron. Like we didn't. Should we see those guys?
I would have liked to see like Finn and all of them. Yeah, the pilots. Like a flyby at the end would have been cool.
Why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they be seeking refuge at the Colossus? Right, like that's exactly where they would go. Is this thing? They'd be finding out that they knocked out a Star Destroyer, and it was like the first thing to bid back at the First Order, and then go find him, and like that would be interesting. And they could do that still in season 3 if they did a season 3, but they didn't, and it's sad because they really hit their stride here.
Yeah, I mean, our own headcanon pretty much was like, okay, well, maybe they did meet them, at the end there. Maybe they did run into Poe, like the Rogue Squadron and everything, at the end. You're right. I mean, they really hit their stride, after these 3 episodes. And
it took them how many episodes? 37 to hit their stride? Come on, man.
But we were into season 3 of Clone Wars, and there were some episodes where we were like,
it's 4 seasons to hit their stride there, Mitch.
Yeah. You know what they could have did on this? We could at least at the end saw like a hologram or like a recording like of General Organa, because she's a leader of the Resistance, right? I would have loved to see like her talking to Doza, like, where are you guys at? Like to kind of tie them in fully with the Resistance, right? Because they already have them coming on board and they're starting to use the Colossus more of like a stronghold, like a space kind of mothership to house, Outer Rim Resistance pilots. I would love to see them kind of made this full circle and, her kind of welcome them fully into the Resistance and things of that nature. So that would have been like a nice little ending to see some of that. Just a little more tie-in, but I thought it was, the way it ended was phenomenal. It's crazy. I love Kaz's character the last 3, but I just don't know. It makes it weird that he becomes mature 37 episodes in, like literally. He's like kind of clumsy. The last 3, there was no clumsiness. He was precise. He was like, it's just weird. You know what I mean? He
was sort of like that at the beginning of the season too, but they deviated with him. I'm like, what they
make him.
How long did it take Luke to become a character that we could like rely on? I mean,
well, like 15 minutes?
No, Luke. Well, I don't know. Maybe if we say like toward the middle or end of Empire Strikes Back, he was like a character we could like rely on.
I think it was right around when he said, "I'm here to rescue you. I'm here with Ben Kenobi."
Right.
Ben Kenobi. I think that's really where the credibility came in. As soon as he referenced old Ben.
Well, not when we originally saw him. I mean, think about it. Kaz and Luke are really similar. It's a similar vibe. We're just looking at this with all this, knowledge we already have of what we want to see these characters do. We're not able to just accept this guy for who he is.
Yeah. Luke wasn't an idiot like this, man. He might have been hard-headed, but he's not an idiot.
Yeah, he was more, I don't know what you call it. But
I wouldn't say Kaz was an idiot, but he had certain characteristics that were legitimate. And
there we go.
I mean,
he was quite idiot-esque, sir.
Oh, Dameron pick this guy for these missions and to do this.
Go watch the first 4 episodes again, Ken, and compare it to what you've seen these last 3 at least and everything, and see like
now. Okay.
Well, be on cue right now. You
might not be, It's not like we're gonna get down for copyright or anything if you play it. So
we could do it right now. Let's watch it live.
Yeah, exactly, right.
The mouse just woke up.
I gotta make a technical difficulties bump. Whenever you say something like that, we can have an off mic conversation.
Yeah, you got to have that screen to come up that says like like that beep, the flashing noise and all that, and like
it starts counting down 1.
Somebody about ABS will be right back in a moment. Momentarily, like
that, we got to make that. Scott, I leave that to you, buddy.
All right, guys.
The telecast will resume shortly, like, and we got just the screen up.
I mean, it shouldn't take. I mean, I'm not going to do it while we're sitting here because the clicking will be annoying as hell. But I probably could do it pretty fast.
Not saying
I'll drop it. I won't tell anybody. I'll just drop that on everybody one of these times.
I'll give it to you. Kaz. I mean, him and I see what you're saying as far as like the same type of vibe and everything. Because I mean, they have like similar character traits and stuff. The heroes and like the sense of, like I said, goodness and all that stuff. Luke had to learn, he had to go through his trials and stuff of immaturity and stuff before he got to, to be the hero that we seen, especially dealing with Yoda. He was petulant in a way. Kaz was is, was, or is, whatever you want to call it. And we got to spend a lot more time with Kaz though, because this is a series. With Luke, we only got like 15, 20 minutes, and okay, he's the hero of the game.
So that's kind of where I was going. Like Kaz, we had 2 seasons. We had, however, what did we have episode wise? It was 40,
50,
40,
42, 43 episodes. Whereas Luke, it was much more condensed. It was a movie. Yeah. I think if we had Kaz as a live character, it would also have been different.
Right. Well, when is he going to show up? He's going to show up in that Rey movie, which will be 15 years later, at least like 18 years later than this. We've seen him. He'd be older. And then if he's acting more mature and like put together, and he's like some, I don't know, he's some.
That would just be sort of like out of character. Sort of like how what's our favorite Ezra? He was a little bit more.
Ezra,
more, his demeanor was a little lesser because he's old.
Scaled down, and even the episode, The Curse. So we saw Kaz get cursed, learn a lesson about himself, and sort of move through it. He learned that he had to drive his own destiny. I mean, if he wanted to be cursed, he could be cursed. If he didn't, he didn't have to be. Luke went through the same thing. There was just no Yoda, no Force. It was just him.
Right.
Kaz is dumb. Like Kaz, it took Kaz a really long time to learn how to be a mechanic, and they kept talking about it. Like Niku kept saying, like, you were really terrible. Like you were an awful mechanic. You had no idea what you were doing. And he's like, yeah, I guess I've learned. But like we would say, it took him 40 episodes to learn how to do and Star Wars mechanic stuff is just like, pull this out, put this in, done. It's all magic, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't know. It's not actual mechanic work.
Niku,
the only mechanical work, we saw was on The Mandalorian. Their friend over there at the station. She actually did real work.
I like Niku. There's something about him. I mean, his sense of humor, his naivete and everything. He had this one comment about like the stormtroopers. He's like, what made you think that, the armor of the stormtroopers? Yeah. The armor of the stormtroopers.
Anything.
Will protect anything. That was so meta. I'm like, okay.
And then in like the next episode, all those guys, I mean, it was just, there were piles of stormtrooper bodies in the Colossus. They were just like not playing around. They were just shooting to kill, and they were showing it. Like just like 2 dudes were standing in a hallway like a bunch of idiots, and they just bam down. You know what I mean? It was exactly what you want to see from a realistic, you know what I mean, from a Star War. But it's just these are the good guys. They're just hosing people down.
The good part about Niku, and I hate to harp on this guy, but Niku is the perfect balance of what I felt like Jar Jar Binks should have been, because he has those comedy moments, but they don't go overboard to where it's like cringy and it's like forced. I think, and I'm sure with Hitch, nobody's hate for Jar Jar when it came, but all the material with him was just so like forced. It's like cringe, right? Like they were trying to be over funny, like even like the stepping in the poop, like, come on, man.
Well, think about it like this.
It's almost that is Luke drinking breast milk. Like, bro, what are we doing?
It's like a fart, right? Sometimes a fart can be really, really funny. But if you try to fart really, really hard and you try too hard, you can have problems. So that's the thing. It's got to be natural.
Yeah, you're really right, DP. I really like Niku because it's a great balance. He was like the comic relief, but he wasn't overboard. Like it was, but he had also like a serious demeanor at times as well. So when he was double crossed by the spy that we never seen again. So I wish we would have seen her again. But she's gone.
Yeah, so, that
whatever she was, gun for hire, whatever we want to call her.
She just came and went. Yeah, seriously.
Yep, right back in line.
Well, that engineer too. The episode, The Engineer, that too, right?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. She just dipped in hyperspace.
That actor must have asked for way too much money. They're just like, we're just not going to bring that character back.
But But we found out our fake Jedi lady stuck aboard and kept with the band. So I mean, whatever she is,
Yeah,
she's
right.
still around, right?
Didn't
So-
And she
expand
seemed
her
like she
whole-
didn't want to fight.
No,
She's willing to go and
mu-
steal all these
she must have
artifacts like
turned
Indiana Jones.
herself off the Force, right? She didn't want to get caught.
No, she
She's like,
fired
I
a
just seen a
blast.
car. She's like, I
She
just
shot
saw
a
your
couple
card.
stormtroopers.
It's like, I told
Yeah.
your fortune, it's bad. I'm not doing this.
None of those people wanted to help until they actually seen them being shot. Kaz and Yeager and them being shot. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, we got to help. We got to actually walk into the thing. I was like, okay,
And how about that? How Star Wars is that?
that is Star Wars. That happened fairly quickly, but that is Star Wars.
Captain Doja, he like Bugs Bunnied them. He was like, we want you to help Kaz. And they're like, no way, we'll never do it. And he was like, hey, I want you to stay out of this one. And they were like, hey, you can't keep us out of this fight. Get your guns. We're going in there.
He dangled the carrot out in front of him. Is that what you mean? He Bugs it?
Yeah, how
Bugs
Bugs Bunny will
Bunny
be like, well, it's red, it's white, it's red, it's white, it's red, it's white, it's white, it's red.
It's white, it's white.
Did
It's
exactly
red.
that with him.
Yeah.
But that was fine because it was. I was surprised that was a live like FaceTime that he did with them from he probably could have
Oh yeah,
sent
when
that
he
in a
was in
text.
space. Yeah.
Like I was like, you really just could have texted that.
I mean,
I got a text from Kaz that says we're in mortal danger. Nah, he would have FaceTimed if we were really in mortal danger. He wouldn't have just sent a text.
well, didn't somebody get like sniped in the background? Like somebody like took one to the chest, and they were like, "Oh, like." I was like,
Yeah, like-
what?
They were just blowing people away. Like, you know what I mean? All Tam's friends that she probably saw in the mess hall and like was
jeez.
around all the time, making jokes about how she's learning to pilot, being all excited in her pilot class, just getting wiped out by her other friends that she had previously double crossed because she couldn't figure out a zero casualty way to defect. Like, come on. She waited for 0 minutes. she waited for her opening for like 0 days. Just the first time.
I think the only character we got that said, we only got one character that pointed to Tam and said traitor, and then everybody all of a sudden they're family again and everything.
That was a Buckethead. That was the only person. Actually, Steel City, you're the only person that's against her. Everyone else thinks she's great. So, including the First Order.
including the First Order.
She betrayed us also.
So where do you fall, really? I mean, come
I
on.
don't know.
You're
I
the
mean,
only
maybe
person that doesn't like her.
I don't know.
And
I
yet
guess I just feel like once you stab all of your
Once you-
friends in the back and then go make other friends and subsequently stab them in the back. I mean, she's going on this training mission and there's 5 other people with her? 5 other people that she has not at all broached this subject with to see if they're in on it, which means at best she's killing 5 people and making her escape.
How did she get promoted to commander so quickly? Like, how does that even happen? I don't see
her first officer like had an affection for her. So it was one of those things like it was like her student.
Her judgment for Tam. I mean, she has to be demoted seriously. I mean,
Bro,
to
she
have
got
those
choked to death, literally.
And did we see her any after that? After she got
She was choked to death, and he choked her so bad that she
blew
couldn't
up.
escape the ship, so she blew up.
Yeah, she died. I don't think
Choked her in the stasis, and then she.
I don't think
Fried
Supreme
up.
Leader got a chance to kill her. I think she just blew up with the ship.
He
She
just
had her
gave-
enough. Yeah. How would you
But
like
do
to
you
die?
think
by
he'll miss
not
that
being
Star
able to-
Destroyer? He just gave up on that. Like, I understand that people are failures and you don't want, you don't care if it's full of bodies or full of living people, but it's a ship. I mean, you're not just going to be like, who cares about that ship, right? Like that seems kind of wild to me.
At this point, where we don't know that there's 1,000 sitting on Exegol, I thought that would be pretty crazy to lose one because I'm sure that's a big. Before they get those reserves or whatever they call that, the full army or the final order, like I think that would be a big thing to destroy the Star Destroyer like that. To like one go down, that'd be a pretty big blow. I think.
Their fleet can't be that big. That's why you build a super weapon because you don't have the naval muscle to beat the New Republic. So you're doing this on a shoestring budget. So he should have been somewhat. So he'd at least been like, okay, well, jump out of there and we'll come back, or it's just a military resource. You wouldn't just want to blow it up for no reason. It's like an aircraft carrier, pretty much, which is how they treat it here, not like a battleship. It's like an aircraft carrier. If the United States had an aircraft carrier and they were like, "Yo, we're under attack. Can you send us some reinforcements?" And the president of the United States was basically like, "You're a failure. I'm not doing anything for that boat." We'd be like, that's dumb. You'd be like, "Oh, save the ship." And then maybe do whatever to the commander.
They have hundreds of more. They have hundreds of them. Those are a dime a dozen. Those dreadnoughts.
Oh, that's a crazy thing.
I don't know.
They didn't even show the dreadnoughts. I wanted to see a dreadnought, not just the Star Destroyers. Like, there's so many ships I think they could have showed. We didn't see a dreadnought. That should have been the thing that was firing on that planet, not the Star Destroyers. They should have dreadnoughts.
Yeah. Show why they're real, why they really, really, really went after that ship in The Last Jedi. You could add a little bit of depth to that because,
that would have made it. Because keep in mind, like we're talking about this show, how did we not? Because this has to happen literally. It would have to happen before Luke's dead because Hux is still not been discovered as a spy. So, I would have liked to see a little bit more of, maybe his, turn to the Resistance. I wish there was a little breadcrumb there with the Hux stuff. I really did. Because it's a weird time frame. Is this, before they go to that, whatever ice planet with the red sand or whatever we call it with the foxes? I mean...
Salt foxes.
Yeah,
when did Kylo get his scar? When did he get that?
Scar across his eye?
That's ice. I got that from Rey on the station in that battle in the snow with the
that was in the Force Awakens.
And then he was getting it fixed, and then Supreme Leader Snoke was like, "Oh, I see you're getting your stuff fixed, so you look good." Boo! Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, you know what? Now I'm just gonna make it look horrible forever."
Yeah, he ripped the stitches back open and shit to be a hard ass.
What a try hard! Boo! Boo! Kylo Ren! Boo! Couldn't even show up in this series. Come on, you could have done it again. It wouldn't have cost him more to have him be physically there versus on a hologram, right? It's not like that. It's not like they have to ship him in, something like that.
It was like in Empire when the Emperor was first shown to us. It was a hologram, so he was like the big evil guy, but only a hologram. We don't know who this person is. We don't even know what his name is. Scar across his eyeball and everything.
But this aired. Great. So this aired 3 weeks after Episode 9 came out. So this was produced and came out right when Episode 9 came out. But it doesn't feel like it knows what happens in Episode 9. That has no idea. They were produced completely separately, and there should be some more information about what's going to happen in Episode 9 and more foreshadowing if that's what this is designed to do. And it seemed very clear that the first season was designed to tie Episode 7 to Episode 8. And so you would imagine this would try to bridge the gap in time, at least somewhat, but they're really not making an effort to do that. This feels like a sequel to Episode 8. And because Episode 9 is such a left turn from Episode 8, it just sticks out. Why? You know what I mean?
They did the best they could with it was probably already set to be produced. But they just did the best they could with the story that they were given. The story that they tried to make with the direction that the left turn at 9 ended up making. So they just had to. I think they did a decent job. Considering the circumstances of the movies. You wish they had a little bit more like T-Mitch said, breadcrumbs and stuff, but I think just speculating on the production, I think they tried to probably just leave as much alone because they just didn't know.
Yeah.
So
well, keep in mind though, they did kind of know. I sent the script for Colin Trevorrow's Duel of the Fates, which is even another. You talk about a left turn, bro. I don't know where the hell he was going with that. That was exorcism, taking over bodies, forced possession. Bro, I don't know what he was doing. So if we even got Colin Trevorrow's take of this, I think this would even be more crazy because he was going a whole different direction to where we thought we were going to go. So, I don't know. This to me, watching this, really makes us all want to just forget 9. I would almost like, you know how we demand replays? Like I demand like a reshoot of 9. Like just tidy up 8, do 8.5, maybe clean this up, do another season, and then release like a new 9 to like kind of really finish off that. Because I honestly watching this in these shows we've watched, 9 is so cheated because it's like a one-off. It really like 7, 8, and 9 can't be a trilogy because 9 is so 7 and 8 you can kind of be like, yeah, okay, but 9 is such like on an island now. And I was on I was of the illusion that 8 was on an island because of where the Rian Johnson took it, but I'm okay with 7 leading into 8. But 9 has to be like just like a one-off. Like it just doesn't even fit anymore based on this series. Yeah, it just doesn't.
There's a missing movie. I mean, you've got if you look like you can put the sequel trilogy on the same sort of scaffold as the original trilogy, and you can say that okay, there's 7 and 8, and that's really Rogue One and Episode 4. They're together, they're a set, they belong to each other, and then Episode 9 is the finale where we finally somehow kill Palpatine, and there's something missing in the middle that shows how everybody went in that direction, right? That shows what happens when the First Order, really starts rolling over planets and being in charge and really throwing their weight around. And then you would see Kylo Ren have success as the Supreme Leader and then get sort of like lassoed by Palpatine, like not so fast. Like I'm still here, get back here. That could be interesting. They could explain how Palpatine, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could do. I guess I probably should just start listing stuff. But I think you're right. There's something missing structurally to connect 8 and 9. And it's because 8 was too close to 7 and too far from 9. Like you just left too much of a span in between the two. And the only thing you can say is
a time jump, but it doesn't. Yeah, and it makes it like so disjointed.
Everything got flipped on its head. Well, shouldn't we see that process of how it all flipped on its head? And we get so bound up in trilogies, but a trilogy is just, we're just talking about production eras, really. It doesn't have really anything to do with the actual story, which spans, it's a nonology now, right? And it's going to be a ducology and then an lobonology or whatever. I don't know what those are.
So what if they never brought back the Palpatine piece? What if Palpatine did die at the end of Jedi?
You could literally do the exact same story except not have it be Palpatine and have it just be the disembodied spirit of the original Sith, and you can name it Exar Kun like in Legends and have it be messing with Ben from far distances and having been awoken by the death of Palpatine or something like that, right?
That would have been something fresh and new. So
they just done that with Baylan Skoll though. Like they have this is the crazy part. You literally have the story that you could have put in the movie. There was something calling to Ben a stronger force, right? So he goes to the unknown region to find this Sith ultimate. Just like Baylan Skoll's doing. Like he literally on the TV show gave you the breadcrumbs for Episode 9. And then there would have been Rey versus Kylo in a real battle. Other than this like 2v1, I don't know. They both get walked, and then somehow.
But that Ahsoka story didn't exist yet. It wasn't even there.
But this idea had to be in his mind. They can't draw this up in a little bit of time. Like, come on, these guys have storyboards. This wasn't something new. You know what I mean?
Gotta get shareholders to sign off on that stuff.
Yeah, like come on.
The mouse has to come in.
Yeah, I think somebody knew a little bit about it.
The mouse is gonna come in.
Only the black and white one from 1929.
Or if anything, as we say, like maybe Filoni just didn't have enough influence, and now that they're seeing his stuff come on the picture and the response he's getting, maybe they're like, oh, you know what, that kid might have had something. We should have listened to him back then, right? Yeah.
He just wasn't an animated kid, Let's bump him up into like the real stuff,
Was it 1.4 billion? What was the last one? 1.7 was
this is probably
Rise,
a good
Rise of Skywalker.
All right, Rise of Skywalker.
One. Yeah.
Last Jedi.
It's crazy.
And Star Wars TFA. Now, one thing about Rise of Skywalker.
Still good numbers. I mean,
that was like early pandemic though, wasn't it?
It was right before the pandemic. It was December of 19. It's like Christmas of 2019.
Yeah, it was kind of at that.
So some of us had. Okay, I'm not doing this. I'm not getting into some COVID conspiracy theory. Because I say I had it in December of 19 and it turns into a thing.
Yeah.
But I did have it in December of 2019.
Okay, COVID in December 19.
I really feel like I did because like all the symptoms mapped out. I was messed up. I didn't go to a doctor because that's not something you did for like
Right.
the flu back then.
So we all went to see that movie, and we got COVID
We got COVID.
while we saw that movie.
I'm pretty sure when that movie came out, because I went to Hitch's. I don't know if this is Hitch's. This is my old stomping ground. So I used to go to Marquee Cinemas in Philadelphia. Shout out to Marquee Cinemas. And I remember it because when I watched it in premiere, like we were getting hit that day with an ice storm. It took me like an hour and a half to get home, and I was like, I live probably 10 miles from it, if that. But yeah, we were getting hit with an ice storm that night, and I remember like trudging home slowly. Because I saw the late. I watched it early, so I watched like the
And
early.
you had to
whatever,
walk.
Thursday
You were
night.
walking, right? You didn't have your
No,
car.
we were stuck on 70, like trudging slow.
Jeez.
Trudging.
Actually, funnily enough, I remember the Hollywood theaters over in Washington that had the tiered seating in the mall, the old Franklin Mall.
Yeah, see,
That's
I
why I
never
saw
went to
last
that
time.
one because I like the digital screen. I didn't want
Okay.
projector, so I went to Marquee for the try. I mean, I could have been at the Washington Theater in 10 minutes. With that 5 minutes. So
I get
funny.
it. I used to come up to the Phoenix in Bridgeville and watch like Lord of the Rings 3 and stuff. So
$5
That's what I saw.
for $5,
That's when I
right?
saw The Force Awakens. Was it the Phoenix?
Phoenix. Is that when it was $5 movies?
I
No, it was like
I didn't see a discount one, but yeah, they do. I remember they were doing that.
Yeah.
Cinemark still has pretty good discounts on Tuesday nights, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't go to the movies anymore. I have a 2-year-old. Like what am I going to do on a Wednesday? Go to the movies? I got to pick her up and feed her. I guess kids like food, right? Like,
Yeah.
Father of the year.
Yeah. Hey, you can be like Mando, right?
Eat those eggs. What? No,
Yeah.
those are living. Those are sentient eggs. You're eating people. You gross sap frog. He's just like.
But no, man. I overall, like I said, I think we're all pretty happy with the show. I'm pretty happy with the direction where it went. I mean, and
Are you happy, T. Mitch? Because you was
Yeah.
kind of out. You was out.
I mean, hey, it wasn't for me, but the last 3 were cool. Yeah, it wasn't for me. I mean, would I have watched this willingly? No.
If you made this if you cut out let's say you cut out a lot of the Tam stuff because that's too much background, and it's just like she could be any of these TIE fighter pilots, and they keep talking about it, and it's like maybe she's dead, maybe she's not. Just bring her back at the end with this message. I think, and you shorten this to like maybe instead of 19, like 16 episodes.
Yeah.
I think this could be something
less than
really,
that.
really good.
I think
Yeah, I
you
think
all
we're
should
stretched.
you all should direct your hatred toward Ruckland, not Tam.
Well, he blew up, so I'm good with him. He blew up on the ship. He talked all that shit, and he's dead. So.
He's definitely
you talked
dead.
a lot of,
He's
you
dead.
talked a lot of
But
stuff.
He's dead like
the
many
one-
thousands of other
the one
First
that
Order
went-
soldiers.
He's the one that went south and like kept point. He was
Yeah.
willing to shoot
Yeah.
his parents.
He said
if it
that's
meant
what
the
they
First Order
get.
would advance.
He said that's what they get for being resistant supporters.
Yep.
They're haters.
Yep.
Bump them.
And Tam tried to turn him multiple times and couldn't.
She's like, "Hey, should we go back?" And he's like, "No, this place is great. They let me shoot people. It's awesome. I love it."
Right.
And she's
right,
like,
right.
"I guess I like it
That-
too."
That's where your hatred should go. No. Leave Tam alone. She's okay. She had
Again,
a rough childhood.
specifically season
Ruckland
2
is where
Tam,
you need
not
to direct your
season 1
hatred.
Tam. I have no problem with. Season 2 Tam, however, is working for the Luftwaffe pretty
Okay.
much.
So
I
you
mean, there's
hate
not a huge
Anakin.
difference.
You don't like Anakin either. Or
No,
Darth Vader. He's the point of the whole story. Everything is based around Anakin Skywalker, and you don't like him anymore. You're out. You're out of the club.
I think that
I don't have as much of a problem with
Get out.
But everything Anakin Skywalker up until he starts murdering people is fine in my book. But the thing is, and this is something that's in the movie, he does start
Anakin
murdering
did
people.
murder children.
And he starts
Yep.
killing kids. And he starts killing kids in episode 2. It's not even like you can say the first
And
movie,
why
he's
is
this
that?
great dude.
Why did he do it? Why did he do it?
I hope we're not
Why?
justifying it. I
Because
hope
he
we're
was-
not justifying.
He
killing
basically
them.
goes to his
they
girlfriend. He's like, "I started a fire to kill 20
tortured and
people."
murdered
And she's
his
just like, "Oh,
mother.
I love you. I love you."
Because they murdered.
They
So
tortured
hold up,
and
Ken. That
murdered
is no
his mother.
justification for
Oh,
murdering
Ken
children.
is. I told you, Ken is a politician.
Wow, man, Ken.
This guy's a politician, bro. I told you.
If somebody tortures and murders my mother, you look
You're
out. I'm coming for you.
What about those children that had nothing to do with it? They were just children.
Years later.
Years
later.
Children.
It was not the same night.
Yeah, he came back like with the ski mask on, and you know what I mean? Come on now.
Ben, don't do this.
Ski mask on.
Come back to the light side, man. You're going to
I told you. I knew before the show was over, we'd all have a red lightsaber before this show. It took
a red lightsaber in the back. You know, he had it the whole time.
Anakin Skywalker did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong.
Nothing. And you know what?
What about those younglings he killed?
I just watched that movie, and I feel for the guy.
What about the
bleeding in his arms?
What about the younglings? Do you feel for them?
Yes,
is that okay for him to kill younglings?
Call him Master Skywalker first.
They had no lightsaber, Ken. They couldn't even defend themselves. They didn't know the Force. They couldn't try to block or repel.
That was totally different. That was we're talking about two different sides of the story.
That was a what?
So in your opinion, the Jedi really had it coming. Really had it coming. They've been bossing people around in the galaxy too long, and they needed to get it. Is that where you are?
They lost it. They lost.
I can agree with Ken on that. The Jedi, they, you know, I can agree with that.
You agree with Ken, so those kids deserve to die.
I don't agree with that.
I don't know. I think maybe I should put that on the Chiron right now. EP, those kids deserve.
This is crazy. I can't believe I'm hearing this. This guy really said that.
Oh man,
the Jedi had it coming, so everybody who was on Coruscant had to get it.
Jedi had it coming.
Everybody at Coruscant had to get it.
Those kids deserved it. No, not me. Not me. I didn't say it. No. No, not me. No,
those kids deserve to die.
I love the kids.
It was Order 66.
But they were defenseless children, Ken. Come on, man. They couldn't. Those Jedi younglings couldn't defend themselves.
Hey, they were Force sensitive. They could have done something.
They weren't Sabine. They couldn't learn the Force in 2 days.
All those people Anakin murdered on that planet.
And that's just the stuff we saw happen with our own eyes. Like, let alone the things he did that we never found out about.
These side missions he went on, he's over hacking everybody down.
Ken said he feels bad for the guy.
This is fiction.
Yes.
Right?
Sure.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, I'm not looking over my shoulder like he's going to pop out of the closet here and just cut me down. You know, that's why we can talk about it so openly. If Darth Vader were real, we would all be very respectful, I think, toward Mr. Vader as he stared at us with his unblinking robotic stare and you know, rhythmic artificial breathing. And we think to ourselves,
just like that, you know.
And we think to ourselves, why did we take the specter of Darth Vader so lightly? He's here now in the flesh to take our lives. So that's probably what we would all be doing if Darth Vader were real. Which
I'd probably pick up a blaster and start not shooting things.
He just take it out of your hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
No. I wouldn't shoot him. I'd shoot whoever he didn't want.
Wow, so you just fell right to the first order.
Look at him, bro. He's just marching in line.
Bro, I know it. He's Cam.
He's not even bending. He's marching. He's not even bending his knees. He's sticking the legs straight out.
He went straight to the first order. He said, "Whatever you need, Supreme Leader. Whatever you need."
Yeah.
Ken, nice to know that you would leave us, bro.
Don't do it, Ken. Don't do it, Ken.
Would leave us. He would jump right on the ship with Tam.
Yep. He'd be shooting at us the next day. Just like, you know what? I always wanted to be a pilot. I figure shooting at my friends explicitly, I know they're my friends more than once.
This is crazy, man.
Oh, man.
At least we know where your allegiance lies now. After 100 plus episodes, we know where it lies.
Shoot lightning from my fingertips.
They were literally on the scene.
All of a sudden, Ken, you know, I mean, just like Ray, just all of a sudden, you know.
I just realized this, guys. So they were on the same ship that Tam was on the whole time, right? And all she did was send a text. She could have easily FaceTimed them and explained the whole thing. And they could have been like, yo, don't bring 5 people with you when you defect. Come by yourself. It's a lot easier that way. we don't have to kill a bunch of people and then stack them up if you just come by yourself. So just show up alone. And then she could have done that.
Yeah, she could have learned.
But she decided not to. She decided to, take 5 people that were completely unaware of her plan to defect to their mortal enemy, and put them in a position where their options are fight and kill her, die, or go back to the First Order and be like, yo, she left and we just let her.
But do we as characters really care about the First Order people like that?
No, we don't. But she should, because she should know them because she's around them. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just make friends everywhere I go because I'm just a ball of sunshine.
That's no way to live life.
Making friends?
You don't get to kill any kids that way.
You don't kill anybody that way. What's wrong with you?
Jeez. This turned into a dark episode of the show.
Yeah. Hey, it's finally over after 100 episodes. We got to see Ken's true colors. I'm happy. I'm happy it took all this, man. I'm happy. No, I can't wait to see your review of these other movies now. Well, I want to see your real opinion.
I bet there were probably signs though that Anakin Skywalker was a psychopath. Like he would show up at some camp for kids, and they'd be like, "Hey, Anakin, if we'll do a 3-point shooting contest, and if you win, you win. But if you lose, you have to buy shoes for all the kids." And he would just sink every single shot, looking at those kids, every single one. Just staring at him like you're not getting any shoes. Like I'm not paying any. And he would go to all the kids and take their shoes off him. Make sure. And he would be like, "No, this was a bet. I'm serious."
Oh man, this was so funny.
Tam's story might have been better if it wasn't like a drawn out version of Finn's story. Like another child defected the First Order. We saw that.
Yeah.
Like,
So it went the opposite way. Tam started with the Empire, went to the First Order, came back. Finn was always with the First Order.
Well, no, he was kidnapped.
But he had his brain scraped.
That's what I'm saying. He never knew.
Yeah.
And then he came back.
His brain. Like he has an excuse, for being as part of those.
No, because I don't think they did.
They did something to those kids because he was Force sensitive, and then he didn't find out
he's one of those kids Anakin was going after.
Yeah. I mean, Kylo Ren knew he was Force sensitive. They foreshadowed that off the beginning of the movie when he stared at him, so he knew that he was different than the other ones.
You knew his number.
That was an Easter egg. So, yeah.
And it would have been real cool if it would have paid off. It would have been real cool if in Episode 9 they would have paid that off somehow instead of having him do a cavalry charge up a ship's deck for some reason.
On a horse.
Somehow.
This horseshoes we all
somehow Palpatine returned.
Oh my.
Yeah. What a way to end the Resistance, guys. But
I'm gonna go watch Episode 9 right now.
Yeah. I'm sure it's on TBS, so
is it on Disney Plus or is it? It is.
It's on Disney Plus.
Somewhere.
TBS has it's either Marvel or Star Wars on spin constantly. Literally, it's either Avengers or Star Wars. That's like TBS's late night programming, literally. So
I wouldn't know. I haven't had TV.
Yeah. So other than that, guys, it's been a fun show. I'm glad we are starting to get the real Ken. It took over 100 episodes for it to peel out, but we're starting to get the real Ken. Great treat for you guys next week. I mean,
what can I say?
We get 3 episodes of Bad Batch, so don't know when they're going to premiere, but just pay attention to our Facebook. We'll watch them all and then digest them and obviously give you our live reaction. I don't know if they're doing a late night thing or if they're going to let people if they do the 7 o'clock thing, it probably might be tough. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So just pay attention to the Facebook page, or just pay attention if you're not subscribed. So when we go live, we're live, right? So other than that, guys, I appreciate everybody this week. And until next week, this is the way.
This is the way.